Can we talk? Because we really need to talk. This state of the world right now, the current government that we are facing, it blows my mind. Just how people can irrationalize something rational. Like, as it's in your face, even. And you can claim that you are seeing something else. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that you are bigoted or terrible people, because I've been your people before. I have been the Republican side. I have been the conservative Christian before. And I'm going to tell you, what you are supporting now is not that. The Christians that are still holding up the higher elite, the ones that preach this extreme fundamentalism that we will never be able to achieve, because we are not to. They don't want that. They don't actually want us up in that circle. They want it so hard. They want to see us fall to it. They want as little people they have to deal with as possible. They want us as easily flexible, pliable as they need us to be. The easiest way to do that is Christianity. Why not take something that is hopeful to most? That in my life, God has saved me. I have been to close calls near to my end, that I've been told I had a guardian angel, and I believe that I did. I believe I still do. I believe God is sitting right next to me as I talk to you, because I cannot express just how fucking dark all of this shit is. That Christian world is dark. My grandmother, my dad's grandma, she is immigrant from Prussia. Very much had evangelical faith. And I don't know her ties in Prussia, but just the aligning of certain beliefs that have stemmed from that part of the world. And it has very dark ties to what was World War II Germany. And I can't doubt that my family has some past that I'm not sure of. There's something so insidious of things that we just sometimes don't understand. And it's hard because you could look at a woman who is your typical American woman. Pearl had started Freedom Fest in the town that I lived in. She was an incredible patriotic woman. She was a traditional wife. She stayed at home. She raised 2 sons. My uncle, who was in the army. My grandmother was the everyday church woman. She went to church every Sunday. She was very well invested in the church that we went to. And she wasn't that. She wasn't. Behind that Christian exterior was a woman so demeaning, condescending, evil. So evil that when I finally got the courage to tell her that her other granddaughter, my cousin, we were only 2 grandchildren, that she was assaying me, my grandma was literally unfazed and just said, let's not talk about it. And that was it. That was it. I had my innocence as a child shattered at 6 years old. I was already well introduced to the world of sex at 6 years old. 6. And then to grow up in that fundamentalist world too, to feel as I'm the sinner, as I'm the one who brought it on myself. That I inherently did something wrong for me to be abused as a child. All meanwhile, these Christian beliefs held up this woman to let these things happen. And it took me time to realize that it wasn't that she just let it happen. She made it happen. People really want you to doubt your reality. They will make sure they will do that. And these people who are these very Christian elite, who fit these very, very conceptual titles, are not that. I promise you, they are not that. This woman was everything on the outside of the traditional American woman, but on the backside, I caught her when I was 10 years old. I went down into the living room, 10 years old, to turn and see that she is watching C-SPAN. I'm 10 years old. But quickly she turns it off, and I guess I was supposed to forget that. And I probably did, because what point would it make? I mean, she already brushed off my own abuse, so yeah. I guess just move on, right? It didn't end there either. So my dad and my uncle. I don't know at all what happened to them. I can only know that something did. Obviously, catching my grandmother watching inappropriate child material, my dad's and my uncle both abusing their daughters, which means me. I was not a child growing up. I was anything but a child. When my dad did not have partner, I was partner. I was entreated as much, as much. They give everything a partner fulfills for a partner. I did, as a child, for my dad. And to still feel as though I have to hold that sin. The realm of sex is very, very good to use too when trying to manipulate somebody with religion, because it's the biggest thing that people can feel shame with. Because whether they went on their own to engage in the act, or if it was happened to them from somebody who was above them, especially in the church too, don't think anyone's gonna actually believe you, first of all. They're pretty much gonna tell you it was your fault it happened. Don't think that they're actually going to support you, even though the other person did a sinly action towards you. You're actually the perpetrator, honestly. You obviously did something devious to bring on what that person did to you. 6 years old. Up until I was 15. Tried a few more times when I was in high school. In my later years. I couldn't even face my trauma until recently, because I couldn't even allow myself to accept that it was trauma. I thought I had to have been at war to say that I had PTSD. It wasn't until finally I allowed to get the diagnosis for it, like went and actually got to the doctor, and she did the full test, and she's like, my God, you score so freaking high on the PTSD range. What the heck? And I'm like, I guess I just wasn't allowed to think that I had it. Because that would actually mean that something bad happened to me. That I actually was the victim. But I was never allowed to believe that. No one in my life would ever allow me to believe that. But I was. I'm not going to think for 1 second that I wasn't. This is what this Christian world feeds. And they hide behind this beautiful array of light to just show you how great they are because of their righteous choices. It is not that. There is no realm of mind that you can ever convince me that SA on a child can be okay. But when you start questioning whether, to actually find a video on somebody who is trying to now soft sell in the elite right now, soft sell pedophilia. The fact that you guys can't even allow to hear those words blows my mind. The fact that this whole Epstein thing is not enough to just fucking riot blows my mind. But I guess I'm not surprised, because that is how they want it. They want to break you. They want you to be victimized. They want you to question your reality. Because once you do, you're going to be weak. You then only think you're going to be saved by somebody that is not you. And they will reinforce that by telling you, yes, that persons that are going to save you are God and Jesus. But the expression is mainly on Jesus, and that's very much for the reason that they really want to ensure that you remember that humans have that power. That's not the case. God has that power. I have a lot of issues with just people taking religion to such face value, because this is what happens when you do. I grew up a Christian, even though I was forced into it with my grandma and her evangelicalism. I still am very much a Christian. I 100% am grateful every single day that I have even the slightest communication with God. Like, that is my reason for living. I have no other reason in my life for the fact that God put me here and God has me here because He wants me here. I don't at all question Christianity. I don't think bad on traditional values. I once leaned that Republican side. I'm not against these ideals. But the issue is when you want people in power that hold these ideals to set the stage for the rest of society, it's damaging because it's not attainable. And it's even more damaging because the people who are setting these now standards are not those standards. They very much use this realm of Christianity because they know that people can be brought in that way. If Christianity feels painful to you, you are in the wrong place. I don't want anyone as a Christian to feel that they are less than, because you're not. If you tell me you believe in God, I believe that you think that you know that you are worthy, because God is amazing. You guys should be able to be free with how you feel. I want that for Christians. I don't want to see it as a theocracy, because it's not going to be a theocracy. Right now, the elite wants you to think it's a theocracy. It's not that. It's theocracy without God. 100%. It's so easy to shape people around shame and religion. It's the easiest thing I can even think to getting people to follow you. That's how cults are so effective. As I said, I come from that conservative Republican side from my past. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the presidency right now, I want him out just because I don't like the Republicans. That's not the case at all. Honestly, if we have a good party, 2-2, and if the Republican side is the better side, I will vote Republican. I don't care about being a certain side. I care for the people. I care about who's going to go up there and make the right choices for the people. I always care about the people. I don't like the sense of like just being called a socialist either. Like, I'm sorry that I guess I just don't always care about myself. What a shame that I don't want to just be wrapped up in my own feelings. I don't want people to feel like right now everything that is going on is okay. It's not. The abuse of children should already be enough that we would, again, riot this guy, but apparently that's not the breaking point for us. It was Canada getting into trading with China and the lack of healthcare subsidies and doing anything for that. I guess that was our breaking point, but I at least am glad to see there's some breaking points. But it kills me that our brain was just not like right away appalled to find out that this whole sex scandal trafficking thing was going on. That those were the things. That kills me. But going back to the fact that there's a much thing of generational curses too. I don't want to sit here and just be like, oh, all you guys are stupid that you don't see the truth in front of you. I can't say that because you're not meant to. You're literally programmed that way. I'm telling you for a fact. I've lived that world of people questioning even when you are saying what you see in front of you and you know for a fact they saw the same thing, but they will sit there and still tell you, you did not see that thing. No. How dare you? Like, that gaslighting thing is so on par for that realm of thoughts. Sex and children. Because these elite who are positioning themselves as these Christians need these things. to fulfill actually what they're doing. Because out of that evangelicalism, you have all these different sects that actually broke down into even more sects. And I want to put out even like some of the most like notoriously darker groups known, like Freemasonry, actually have like normal people that are in these organizations. When I sit here and talk about any specific part of like the vision of Christianity, I am not talking about the people in it, because out of every organization that there is in Christianity, there's always going to be the regular people. The regular people who appreciate the faith and accept and adhere to the principles and enjoy life, basically, and just live in freedom with God, as it should be. I guess as a Christian, I've always had, I even myself will have those moments where I'm like, I don't see how you can consider yourself Christian, because, and I will judge. If there's any Christian group I will judge the harshest and most quickest is Mormonism. But it comes with a lot of research into these faiths also. My background is in sociology, by the way. My minor is LGBTQ plus studies. I'm not afraid to study the world. I'm not afraid to know other things in this world. What's crazy too is that I think Christians fear that if they learn another religion, that they're going to compromise their own. And that's not the case. I know very much about Buddhism. I know I grew up going to a synagogue at times when my mom used to work there. And I appreciate the faiths. There's nothing inherently evil about the faiths, because the people that generally only go there to connect with God are just genuine everyday day-to-day people. They go, they communicate, and they live as God wants it. I'm scared even for anyone who feels that they have to live by this fundamental standard to be in a relationship with God. I fell very hard into that fundamentalistic world. It was very much that. I was on board with the silver ring thing and edging into the World of Vision forum. You do not have to. You simply just connect, and however you do that. And what I find is crazy was that when I lived in that fundamentalist world, it was so much shame to live up to such a high standard of traditional values. And it was damning because it hurt every time I would fall short. And I felt like I just even would make more mistakes. I felt even my mind sat darker places. It wasn't until I left that world and actually just hung out with God and talked and actually felt comfortable and comforted next to him that those traditional values that were so hard to obtain back then just kind of clicked, honestly. Like, it's nuts. When you actually have, like, a Christian conscience, which means you're just in communication with God. It means that you take him into your day-to-day consideration to make godly, wise choices. And it's, you don't have to have the values before you get there. Everyone's putting the cart before the horse. You've got to get the cart after the horse. The horse is getting into the relationship with God. The cart is all that comes with it. People who value God value those traditional roles not because they have to, because they feel it. They know the energy that is. It's hard to explain. It's just something that clicks, and that's what I want for Christian people. I just want people to actually have that relationship and know that those traditional values are a result of that relationship, not what you have to have that relationship. I really want people to understand that. Adults have to make that world enticing. That's how they get children to stay in those positions. They will do anything to make that world enticing so that they won't go and be whistleblowers. They want you to question your reality. But no matter how willing of a participant you are, even as a minor, it's devastating. It's devastating. Your mind is not programmed that really to engage in those activities. I don't want anyone in their life to think this is a normal situation. I don't want anyone to ever question anyone who comes up and says to them, this happened to me. No child should have to even be forced to give the details. That is traumatic. If a kid says they've been hurt, they've been hurt. That's it. You take it and you investigate. You bring justice for that kid. That is the proper, normal, humane thing to do. But we are now at the point where we're comfortable with this concept that we throw this word around so easily, not really realizing just how damaging. Because I know the actions of those people that present in that world too. I know how they talk to the people that are in that world with them, the women that are in that world with them. I was never a child growing up. I essentially felt as though I was a concubine in a sense. The devastation in it, I don't want people to go through it. I've always wrestled to understand what happened to me, why it happened to me, and why I felt as though I caused it. And as the news just keeps coming down with the fundamentalist world and sex scandal upon scandal, child upon child, it's bright as day to me. I'm not one for conspiracy theory. I'm going to straight out tell you, because I am very much, I have to see it. I have to know it. But when conspiracy theory has been proven once at least, and the next conspiracy theory is in line with that last one that actually has been proven, I can't look away. I just can't. So here I am. So the conspiracy theory goes with MK Ultra, which, if people don't know, that was during a period of CIA abducting and abusing and a lot of very torturous experiments on kids. Whatever you want to think, I am telling you from my own personal experience in that fundamentalist world, with all the evidence that is coming down from the Epstein files to the fundamentalist organizations such as Liberty with their scandals, Vision with their scandals. I really want people to look into like the dark realm of what Freemasonry really is. Because when you get up to those higher degrees, that's when you start seeing a little more overlap with our fundamentalist Christian sides. But I find it very interesting that all of those very high fundamentalist Christians that we are now holding up to this unattainable standard that we have to live by as American people, those people don't worship what you think they are trying to sell you. They're not. They are very much into that darker realm. People who have been in the Freemasonry world will tell you that people from Christianity very much join that realm. There will be the high elites of other classes that have joined that realm. What you see is not coincidence. And I'm not the one to just sit here and jump on conspiracy theory. But this also goes very much with MK Ultra again. We're now seeing all these ties to Erika Kirk with the CIA. That's not coincidence. Her having this very scandalous past this scandalous backstory with sex trafficking rescues. It's not coincidence. They are of this dark world. The CIA once has already been a very questionable thing. It's questionable again. It's very much questionable again. It's not the organization itself that is. There's people that work this job normally. It's the people that are part of the other thing that go into these organizations and take over what is being done there. we have now just finally elected those very, to the surface, very godly, very Christian, very traditional American values. But that's not what they do. On the backside, it's the endangering, the torturing of kids to fulfill very, very sadistic, satanic needs. These are very selfish people we're dealing with. But I'm not even going to just sit there and say these are terrible people. These are broken people. These are broken people. These are people that were in the wrong place, the wrong time with the wrong people. I will even sit here with Trump. His dad was awful. His dad was awful towards him. But this is where I have issue with Trump. You're fucking rich, dude. You could have gone off at any time in your life and just went and got all this help, like on a private island for like a year. You could have got like the best therapist. Could have got spas, massages, food. Anything you felt like you needed to heal, you could have ensured that. Instead, you just back down on these narcissistic, very endangering beliefs instead, and now you're putting all these people at risk. The people who are still backing you are the people who can't see beyond your illusion. I can, because I've been a part of this world before. I know this world. I know the bleeding of the ideology and the values and the traditions that go around it. I know the shaming that goes around sex alone to improve that discipleship. The gaslighting of emotions and rationality to improve that discipleship. That is what you are now. We went through 4 years with Trump before. I said nothing really. We got through it. I wish he actually would have won in 2020 because it gave him time to think. And this is now where we are. It gave him time to make new connections. And this is who we're dealing with now. These people hold, not us, they hold themselves. But they hold themselves with the idea that they think that we think they are holding us. That is not it. As somebody who actually feels connected with God, who actually feels like a good person these days, I'm going to tell you again, you're putting the carriage before the horse. I encourage everyone in my life, anyone I meet, to find God, to have that connection. Because as somebody who feels that love and power, I want that for no one. I would not want that for somebody else. I plead for everyone in life to have that feeling. It is a beautiful feeling, and it makes a beautiful person. I want that Christianity for us. I want people to feel they sit with God and actually talk to God and feel God and don't feel afraid to talk about God. I feel afraid to talk about God myself as a Christian, even though I'm not fundamentalist, but I still get judged. Even though I want safety and rights for everyone just as much as I want it for myself. I'm so worried for us now. I'm worried for us as a people. This is not Republican anymore. We are in a very dark state. The people at the very top are not at all who they are, who they tell you they are. They're made for this. They're made to create the illusion. And once they finish the illusion, they had it. They get it. They're done. We are done. Don't fall for the illusion. Don't. Because that illusion, although it promises God, it doesn't. It promises the devil instead. Because that's what they want. Please, as Christians, please don't support this anymore. Please. Please don't.